Today we're going to talk about no thought, no mark, and no dwelling. This is from the Platform Sutra of the sixth patriarch of Zen Buddhism, Master Huineng. He said this is the three pillars of Zen Buddhism. No thought is the doctrine of Zen Buddhism, no mark is the substance of Zen Buddhism, and no dwelling is the basis of Zen Buddhism. Let's first look at no thought. What does it mean by no thought? It is to be without thought while in the midst of thought. No means no two marks, no thought of defilement. Thought means thought of the original nature of true suchness. So to be without thought while in the midst of thought. We cannot be without thoughts, but we should have the state of no thought. No means no two marks, which means no duality of good and bad, large or small, pure or impure. We all think in terms of dualism. That means we are labeling and we are judging. So no thought means no judging, no labeling, and no thought of defilement. All dualism is considered defilement. Our natural state of mind should be without defilement. Thought means thought of the original nature of true suchness. The real thought means when we are aligned with our true suchness. That's our Buddha nature. When we are aligned with our Buddha nature, our thought should be no thought. What is the state of no thought? It's quiescent, which is still and unmoved, yet it's shining with awareness. Shining with awareness, yet ever quiescent. We usually use the metaphor of a mirror. The mirror itself is quiescent. It doesn't move, it doesn't react to the images, but it's aware, which means it can reflect all the images clearly. Our mind should be in this state, like the perfect mirror. That's the state of no thought. No thought doesn't mean we get rid of all thoughts. Master Huineng said if we get rid of all thoughts, even at the time of our death, we have no thought, we still keep reincarnating. We think to be completely without thought is no thought. Then you misunderstood the Dharma. And if you pass it down to others, that is slandering the Dharma. So do not think it's completely without thoughts. It is just being quiescent and shining with awareness. Master Huineng, he was a poor, illiterate lumberjack. When the fifth patriarch, Hongren, passed him the robe and the bowl, which means passing down the lineage of Zen Buddhism, everyone was jealous and upset with him. So he had to run away and hide. The first person that caught up to him was a monk named Hui Ming. He was a general of the fourth rank when he was a layman. So he's very strong, very powerful. Once he caught up to the master put the rope and the bowl on the rock and hid himself in the bushes. Hui Ming immediately tried to take the rope and the bowl, but for the life of him, he could not move them. He knew something was mysterious. Being a practitioner, he immediately changed his attitude. He said, I came here for the Dharma, not for the rope. That's when the master came out of the bushes. He said, if you really came for the Dharma, you should refrain from thinking of anything and keep your mind blank. Then I will teach you. So they sat in silence for a long while. Finally, the master said, when you are thinking of neither good or evil, what is at that particular moment is your real nature. As soon as Hui Ming heard this, he at once became enlightened. So we should keep our mind at the state of no thought, no dualism of good or evil. That is the true state of mind that we should be at. That's when we are aligning ourselves with our true suchness. Now let's look at no mark. No mark means to be apart from marks while in the midst of marks. Mark means phenomenon or forms. Everything we see in the world is considered a mark. So we have all this existence in the world, but we are detached from them. We see everything, we hear everything, but we are not attached to them. The ability to be separate from marks is the purity of the Dharma substance. We should have the ability to detach ourselves from all the phenomenon. That is when our mind is pure, our Dharma substance, which is our true suchness, it will surface. So only when your mind doesn't have defiled thought, no judgment of the outside phenomenon, that's when we are aligning ourselves with our real nature. That is enlightenment. That is prajna. In the Diamond Sutra, it teaches us to be away from four forms. The form of the self, form of others, form of people, form of lifespan. Therefore, we should not have the idea of the self, the form of a self, form of another who is separate from us, form of everyone else, all the beings in the world, and form of time. So time and space, self and other, these are all phenomena. All phenomena are just illusions created by our mind. So detach from the form. Though they have conditioned existence right now, but be detached. That means our mind doesn't have afflictions or emotions based on the external world. So that means no mark. That's the substance of Zen Buddhism. Lastly, no dwelling. In every thought, do not think of former states. We should not let our thought keep continuing from one thought to another. When we have succeeding thoughts after thought without interruption, that is bondage. That is why we are reincarnating. Reincarnation doesn't just mean lifetime and lifetime of rebirth. It means in our mind, our thoughts keep going and going in a vicious cycle. This cycle is reincarnation. So if we want to be free from reincarnation, we have to learn so our mind does not dwell in thought after thought. Master Huinan says, in the world of good and evil, attractiveness and ugliness, friendliness and hostility, when you're faced with language which is offensive, critical, and argumentative, you should treat it all as empty and have no thought of revenge. So in all worldly experience of duality, do not have defiled thoughts. That is called no dwelling. Not to dwell in dharmas from thought to thought is to be free from bondage. Free from the bondage of our mind. The fourth patriarch of Zen Buddhism, his name is Dao Xin. He became a monk when he was only 7 years old. When he was 14, he went to visit the third patriarch, Sun Can. When he arrived, he asked the master, "Master, please teach me the Dharma of liberation." The master asked him, Who tied you up? The young monk thought about it for a long time and answered, no one. Then the master said, if no one is tying you up, why do you need the Dharma of liberation? As soon as he heard this, he at once became enlightened. So who is tying you up? It's not the people around you. It's not your situation. It's only your attachment to your own thought. That is reincarnation. So enlightenment means we do not dwell in our thought after thought. In conclusion, if one is well able to discriminate all Dharma marks, then in the primary meanings, one does not move. This is from the Vimalakirti Sutra. If we are well able to discriminate all the phenomena of the world, we can see, we can hear, we can feel, we can know everything clearly. But we do not move because we dwell in the primary meaning, which is the true suchness. Therefore, our mind should not be moved by all the phenomena in the world. That's when we have real liberation. So Zen Buddhism is to teach us in our prajna, samadhi, we should have no thought, no mark, and no dwelling. That should be our natural state of mind. That's when our mind is aligned with our Buddha nature. So that's the class for today. Thank you for listening. Amitabha.